Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April 3rd meeting of the Baltimore County Redistricting Commission. As is normally our practice, we'll go around the table and introduce ourselves, and then we have two virtual commission members that are also on the line. So I'm Eric Rockwell, the chairman and the representative from the 3rd Council District.
I'm Al Harris. I'm Al Harris from the 6th Councilman District.
Edward Kramer from the 7th District.
Cordell Grant from the 4th District.
John Delana for the 5th District.
Isabel Castro from the 2nd District.
Shell Davis, 1st District, District 1.
And we'd like to thank our in-person audience as well as our virtual audience for joining us tonight. First matter of business is the approval of the March 19th meetings of the commission, and you all received that previously from Adam. Any comments on the minutes? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
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 And with that, the minutes are passed. Next, we'd like to welcome Christine Hensler, who gave us all individual instructions last week in the ESRI programming, and she will take it from here and give a brief comments on the application training.
Thank you. So I wanted to take some time with you guys and go over a little bit more of the analysis and review phase when you guys are getting closer to having a completed plan. I know that we touched on a lot of the create tools and establishing how to understand the solution. So on my screen, I have a demo only plan that I created to go with you guys for demo purposes, because I wanted to have errors in the plan so that you guys can understand how to view your errors and how to help resolve them. So as you can see, I have my 9 demo districts here on the plan. When we start to go through our review phase, you guys have your checks that you're looking for. I wanted to go over the charts now that you guys can see how all of the demographics are starting to fill out through these charts. I know that when some of us were working, we didn't all have all of the demographics established in a district yet, so a lot of it was blank, unassigned. So if you are looking at the first chart, which is, well, no, let me back up. Has anybody had any issues with signing in or with your passwords? Are you guys familiar with how to change your password? Okay. If you aren't, in the Share tab, there's an Edit Profile button you guys can click, and you're able to change your password here. There's a password policy, so you need to be 8 characters, have 1 letter, 1 number, as well as 1 special character when you recreate. So back to the charts. So if you're looking at the plan histogram, the bar charts of your data, this will help you kind of view how balanced your districts are. So currently I have my total population demographic as the drop-down demographic. And remember, you can change it to any of your demographic fields that you have active in the system. If there's a field that's not present in a drop-down, remember, you can just go to the Create tab, go to the demographics, and just turn on whichever one you guys were looking for to visualize. But as you can see, as you guys are starting to balance your plans, you'll see that each district bar distribution is going to almost be equal. So you guys are seeing where you have that balancing. You have the ability to go through any of the drop downs as well, just to get a good representation. If you hover over any bar, it'll pull that exact number for that demographic. Same with the plan distribution. This is a good representation of the total because as you guys see your distribution, you're going to see equal pie slices on your map when you have equal distribution of your 9 districts. Like again, you can go through each district and get a visual representation of those. Another useful tool is the district distribution. So the first 2 were as a county as a whole. The third one is a visualization of a district. So you can go through all 9 of your districts and see how they're distributed per all of the demographics. So currently, I just have my standard voting age population demographics turned on in my application. But if I were to go in and turn on the non-voting age, so the total populations, I close out. That does become a drop down. So just if you don't see one of the categories, it's just because that demographic is not active in your plan. It doesn't mean that you can't view it for analysis.
And that showed me also
This is for the demographic of the voting age population. So it's not if they voted or didn't vote, it's if they're of age to vote. So as you're going through this, you can, yeah, absolutely.
I know we've probably mentioned this before, but that is what you are going to want to focus on in terms of that demographic, because everything that we deal with, but particularly in the context of the Voting Rights Act, what matters is not really so much population, but voting age population.
So what are final numbers or total population?
Well, the total population of the county, and yes, you're right, the total population of each district.
Yes.
But in terms of Voting Rights Act, we focus on voting age population. So there's that, I wouldn't call it a nuance, but it's what is relevant in that context.
So when looking at these district distributions, like Tom was saying, if you guys keep the category on of the total 18 population, as you're going through these, you can see how all of the districts are distributed, and you can find your minority districts in a pie chart. So like as I'm going through this, if you hover over, you get your percentages of each demographic. As I'm going through, I see that in this demo plan, District 3 is largely a minority district. District 4 is largely a minority. And District 7 is almost there with 52.9% of the white 18 plus population. So as you guys are going through this, you can use these as tools to visualize your distribution. You can even keep these up on your map, like on your screen. And as you make changes in the map itself, you'll see these numbers change on the fly as you guys are working. So I'm going to show you guys that now. Before we get into these integrity checks, one of those integrity checks that we've talked about is our standard 10% that deviation. In the View tab, we all talked about this deviation coloring, and you can have it represent that if a district is above that 10% deviation, it'll call it out, as well as if it's below that 10% deviation. I'm going to turn this on the district labels, and you guys will see immediately if any of my districts don't abide by that 10%. So I clicked to district labels, I put the check mark to toggle that on, and you can see down here on the southeast part of the county that District 7 is above the 10% deviation and District 9 is below the 10%. These are good visuals that you guys can have on in the map, or you can turn it off. The data is also always in the table below to visualize as well. So I want to correct this. We can't have that to pass the integrity checks, because if we were to go through these integrity checks at the end, which I'll go over these again with you guys, our plan is failing. So what will happen if I go in here and I know that 7 has too much and 9 has too little? They're neighbors. Let's see what it looks like. So I want to put some in District 9. So I make sure that my active district that I'm districting into is 9. I'm just going to follow this 95 corridor and come down the 695 corridor. It's okay if I overlap into District 9 because I can't district into itself, so that's okay to do that. Yep, same thing with the city. So as you can see, as I committed that, our coloring on 7 and 9 went away because it balanced those to be under the 10% deviations. I'm going to hit back real fast to show you guys one other thing. So I hit back. I rejected that. I look back on my chart at District 7. I'm going to hover over my white 18 plus population for District 7, and we're at 52.9%. I'm going to recommit that edit, and it went up to 54. So that's just showing that you guys can see those demographic statistics as you're making your edits in that location. When going back to the review tab, and you guys go through your integrity checks, you'll see the 7 integrity checks. You can ignore the first 3 because the system is set up to where those can't fail. So the dual assignment check just makes sure that any census geometry can't be assigned to more than one district. The system won't allow census geometry to be assigned to more than one. So if that fails, you guys, congratulations, you broke the software. The population summary check just makes sure that every population per the county is districted. District count, it just makes sure that you guys have your 9 districts in your plan. That maximum deviation represents everything falling within that 10% deviation that's preset on all of the template plans. The overall range coincides with the deviation. It's just making sure that you don't have that 10% difference between your lowest and your highest district. Very similar. They work hand in hand. Null assignments. So that one failed for me. So that means that I have, somewhere in my plan, I have a census geometry that isn't assigned to any district. You can check on this in 2 ways. So if you go to the Create tab, there's these binoculars that find unassigned geographies. If you click that, I'm just going to close out some of these, a window appears that'll call out it could be a list of which geographies are unassigned. You can click on each one and it'll zoom to the map. This total field represents the population that lives within that geography. So right now I have one that's 0%. I just forgot to grab part of 695. A lot of the roadways you guys will find they're small slivers, so they're easy to miss. So these tools will really help you guys grab those slivers to make sure that you're assigning them to a district. As you go through this, so I'm going to go ahead and assign this. It's currently unassigned. It needs to go into District 9. So I need to make sure that my drop down is District 9. Just going to grab it. And then now you can see that it is symbolized as District 9. It's still in this list. If I hit refresh, it goes away and I get the notice that there's no unassigned geographies. If I were to close out of my integrity check, run through it one more time, my null assignment is corrected. I'm going to back out of that edit one last time and show you guys how it looks if you were to just do it through this. So it fails the integrity check. I'm gonna change my map so I'm not looking at it already. I'm gonna hit zoom 2, and what the map does is it automatically zooms your map to where it's at, exactly. I'm gonna go ahead and fix it. Go through it one more time. And that one's resolved. Now the final one, and all I keep doing, I know I'm clicking without telling you guys, I'm just going to the Create tab and zooming to the extent of my map so that I just keep getting a visual of the county. The last one is the connectivity check. That's to make sure that everything that you have districted per district connects. You can't have a District 2 in the middle of a District 4. You can't have two parts of a 2 that have a waterway that's not districted in the middle. So this is saying that I have some disconnectivity in my map. So exactly, it is the contiguous part. So right now it's showing that my District 3 consists of 2 parts. So if I hit next part, you see that it's highlighted yellow of one of them. So that looks right. That's my test demo of District 3. But I had this little segment that was District 3 right next to District 2. And you can see that that's not going to pass because that's the edge of the county at Carroll County. So I'm just going to quickly fix that by grabbing my District 2 in the drop down and redistricting that as 2. I'm going to hit refresh. District 3 went away because now it's solely in one part. I'm not going to go through all of these because it might take too long, but as you go through them, actually I can go through them fast. This one error is in 5. I'm just going to grab it, put it in 5. See, this is another one where I was building it out in District 8 right here, but I changed it to 7, but I forgot to grab that roadway. So that roadway is still districted in 8. So I'm just going to fix that. You just go through these, and as you're going through them, you can hit refresh. I'm not going to take the time to go through that, but once you guys fix all of that, that's where you'll have all of these will then become the red checks. I mean, the green checks. Any questions about any of those review phases so far? I do have one more section of the review. Okay. So the last section that we all didn't talk about during the training is the compare plans. So say that you guys are working on a plan. Maybe you start it from a template and you want to see how does my plan change based on what I had started with, or maybe you're comparing yours to another commission member's plan. You guys can do that in this plan comparison group. So you guys were just open up the plan that you want to compare it to. So I'm just going to go to the Bill 4724 template that we have. And as you see in my map, we now have this hatching symbols. What this is represented is anything that is in my plan that differs from another plan will become a hatched marking. It's a little hard to see what the other plan proposed because as you can see in the symbology, I fully have my plan turned on as well as my comparison plan. So what I'm going to do, and it's one thing to note as you guys are comparing this, your compare plan symbology of all the colors of the districts are the same exact coloring of your current districts that you guys have in your district table. I'm going to take my current active plan and just turn my transparency all the way down. What that is allowing me to do, and I'm going to show you. So I'm going to focus on, I'm going to turn my active plan up. As you guys can see, my District 2 is this pale, like purpley blue, and then my District 5 is this pink. I'm going to turn my current plan down, my comparison plan up, and you can see in my comparison plan, District 5 actually takes the north of the county. Where I had proposed in my demo plan is that District 2 takes the west side of 83. So we see all of this hatching because of this differential between the plans. You guys can use this to go into areas and be like, okay, well, I differ between District 7 and District 8. It's only a small section right here. What this is showing is in one proposed, the compared plan, District 8 goes to Philadelphia Road, but in the current active plan, District 7 goes to Pulaski. So there's that little overlap right there in this little corridor. You can say, okay, well, maybe I do like that District 7 or District 8 goes to Philadelphia. So what you guys can do is you can use these and say, I want to update this to represent that similarity. So what I did was I gave District 8 back up to the Philadelphia Road. And if I hit refresh, that hatching goes away because there's no difference now in that area for this plan. You can also take this full analysis, I'm going to zoom back out, and say, I really need to look at all of the areas that are different. You can use this merge tool and say, I want all of the differences to go to unassigned. And it just would be starting fresh for all of those differential areas. You can take your differences and say, I want all of the differences to be reflective of my active plan, or you can say, I want the differences to match what the comparison plan has. And just note, any three of these options are only reflective of those hatched differential areas. One thing to keep in mind, I'm going to turn the comparison plan off, and I'm just going to turn the hatching off. In this demo plan, I have District 1 on the bottom, District 4 directly north of it, and then District 2 north of District 4. If you're comparing a plan that might have District 1 on the bottom, District 2, where District 4 is currently, and then District 4 on the north, that whole area would be a differential because it's matching location as well as district number. So as you're going through any comparisons, if you see a large area that is stating that it's a differential, note that it could be the district numbers are off from your guys' plan. You can change those by using the swap districts and just saying 2 should really be 4 and 4 should be 2. And that might assist you guys with looking at those differentials. Any questions about that? Yeah,
On your screen here,
yep.
I only have these two. I don't have this.
Okay, I'll check on that. Yep.
Do you have it?
Same, missing the merge.
Yep, you all have the same user, so I'll make sure you guys have that and it'll go this evening. You're welcome. And if you wanted to look at multiple plans, you just close the plan and you can open a new one. One thing to note, if you guys do use, when you have it, the merge differences button, when you commit it, it's a full commit. You cannot undo. So before you do that, it's okay. Before you do that, make sure you save your plan, because if you accidentally click it, just close out of your plan and reopen it and you had your last save mark. So just save, save, save. And so I know we talked about the share option, but as you guys are going through share, remember you guys can attach any attachments to these, whether you guys run any of those reports. Anything that you might see is beneficial to your commission as you guys are going through it. Make sure you're utilizing the information tab. State when you guys maybe finalize this plan, something might happen along the lines that might change how you're going about this. You can use this to help you remember where you're at for this plan. Others can come in and create comments on this plan. As long as it is in the shared group, you can come into somebody else's without editing, because they're all read-only, and you can comment, I like what you did here in District 1. Can we talk about what you're doing in this precinct? So on and so forth. You guys can add those comments. As well as if you guys were to share any plans in your group, you can see who's come in and opened your plan as well. They can't edit it, but they can open it and you can see that people are interacting with your plan. And just to share it, remember, you just go to share plan and you guys have this commission group and it'll automatically always go to read only. When you are done and finalized with your plan and you want to submit it, yes, you save it, but you also, when you hit submit plan, what it does is it goes through those integrity checks one more time. And if any of them fail, it won't let you submit it until they all pass those integrity checks. Once you get beyond this point, there is another information window where you guys put your full information, your date, and then you hit submit. And what it does is it goes into a submitted plan folder. Any questions on the tools that I just went over? Okay.
I actually had, yesterday, I went on, half my map was a blue. I couldn't figure out how to get it all. And so I even went to the create and I was like, well, where's the base map? So I went to the roads and while I was zooming in, I could see the roads, but as soon as I took my finger off, everything disappeared.
I think what happened, and if you go to this table of contents with the little arrow on the left,
Okay,
automatically on the templates, the designated, if you go to contents on the bottom, and I'll show this on the
Then
screen.
you're gonna
so
mess me up,
everybody-
are you?
No, not at all. The designated, since it's designated places, is automatically turned on a lot of the plans,
okay,
and that default symbology is blue. So you were most likely seeing,
That's
This
it.
layer,
That's
yep.
exactly right.
so you can just go in and just toggle that off, which you figured out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. So is there a way to view for a total precinct or block of that population, the population within that? So when you guys go to the Create tab, in your Tools grouping is that Identify tool. If you click Identify a feature, you'll see that that table on the left now becomes active. So all I did was I went to Tools, Identify, and then the Identify window opened. Then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to zoom into my map. And the system automatically uses the Identify From, and it's going to always pull your census data. You can change that to identify from any layer that is currently in the map. But I'm just going to go from the census data, the Maryland Adjusted 2020, and I hit block. I click on the map. What it's doing is below where I clicked, it's going to pull that information. So right now I clicked in the census block in Woodlawn, and then the attribute table for that pops up, and it pulls all of that information in the attribute table. You can change this as well. The block group. You see that the outline is larger because now it represents the block group. And the demographics change because it's covering a larger area. Even larger for the voting precinct. So all I did, I'll repeat, I'm going to close out of that, is I went to the info. Info opens up. If it doesn't, you can just hit this arrow. It's the info tab on the bottom. I go to info. Just going to click on the map. And right below where I clicked, it's going to pull that census information. If you change the Identify From dropdown in the Maryland Adjusted 2020 data, you can change at what census geometry you are trying to visualize for that location. The census, the demographic data will pull up in that attribute table. It doesn't have to be the census data that you guys use only for this drop down. You can change it, say that you wanted to see what elementary school district is in this location. I click my map, and that's Woodbridge. So you are able to use that for other layers as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I've got one more.
Absolutely.
Could you review for us the tabs in the right corner?
Absolutely.
Districts proposed, assigned,
Absolutely.
comparison attributes.
So on the bottom is your attribute table. So the first thing is your districts table, and that's what you're currently districting in. So you technically see 10 districts because one of them is the unassigned. So as you guys are going through making your changes, I'm going to go to District 1. Currently in District 1, I have a population of 99,442. If I were to go in and change my data, you can see it on the fly. Yep. So that's the district tab. In the proposed, to visualize this, it's called the two-stage selection. That is with the light bulb. So if you click the light bulb and turn that on, it becomes yellow, like turning on the light. And that allows you to preview your proposed changes. So say that I wanted to do it in the same area that I just did between 1 and 4. I'm going to select this data right here that that I'm proposing taking from 4 and putting into 1. Instead of it fully committing like it previously did and making that section part of District 1, we see a different type of selection. But I want to see what that looks like demographically. I go to the Proposed tab on the bottom. I should. Let me refresh my screen. Give me 1 second. Turn my light bulb back on. Working for District 1. I'm gonna select right here. Don't you guys love demos? Yeah. Let me close out of this plan. I don't know what's going on. Let me just go to one other area. And do that because I have the wrong district. What it's supposed to do, and I don't know why it's not doing it right now for me. Let me sign out. But what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to show you the difference of what was and what will be so that you guys can see those exact numbers.
Okay.
But what the system knows is it knows that I'm demoing it, so it's like I'm not gonna work for you for a second. See, I grabbed the wrong tool. Let me select one more time. I don't know why it's not doing that. I apologize, guys. What I'm gonna do is I'll be able to recreate this and I'll do a screen recording to show you guys exactly what it's like. Because it'll show you the difference. It'll say that, let me try one more time. Yeah, I apologize. I don't know why it's not doing it, but what it would be showing you is saying, I wanted to take this population, this total population, and it might call out like 1,500 and saying District 7 would be losing 1,500 and District 9 would be gaining, and would show you those dynamic numbers of how it would be changing.
Okay.
I apologize that it's glitching for me right now.
Machines.
Christine, when were you able to do that with the bar graphs and the pie charts?
So the bar graphs will only change as you fully commit the selection. It won't show a proposed change in those graphics. But say that you do, so say that I wanted to put part of Rosedale into District 9 on this demo, and I select it, it didn't move it into District 9 yet, but if I hit this lasso, it then moves it into District 9. So you guys don't have to ever commit the selection. You can visualize it when it works, and I apologize, and then you can assign with the lasso. Or if you just know that your changes, you automatically want them without having to go through that two-step, you just turn the light bulb off and you can select it and it'll automatically district for you guys. And then the comparison one is when you guys have another plan in. It shows the comparison. See how it automatically populated? It shows the comparison of your current plan based on the other plan. So in my current plan, I have 94,667 total population in District 1, but the comparison plan has 4,775 less people in District 1 than I do. So you have this way to visualize the differences. Outside of just visualizing it on a map, you can visualize it demographically in that table. And then the attribute table represents if you have any of your layers turned on in your plan. Like I went to the elementary school districts. If you right click on it, you can go to view attributes. Oh, because I didn't have it toggled on. View attributes, and you have a list of everything within that. So like say that you wanted to look at Owings Mills Elementary School District, and you click on it in a table, the map populates to where that boundary is on your map. Welcome. Does anybody need, I have myself and I have Emily Barrett here. Do you guys need us to come around, or Lisa or Michelle on the online? Do you guys need us to show you anything else? Like we can come around and help you guys with any tools, any functionality? Yeah, good. Good? Okay. Yeah, I'll be in touch. As I get into it. Perfect. Perfect. You guys have our email and need anything?
And we certainly appreciate that handbook that you sent us.
Good.
We really do appreciate that. But Adam, I asked specific information about the Tau scenario. Remember I asked you about, we wanted to know the difference between the HOAs as opposed to
Yeah,
all those organizations there? I mean, there's so many there. I need clarification of what's there.
so I talked with Jen Meacham, and
She's the demographer.
yeah, she's
Planning.
the liaison to the planning department, and she gave me an explanation of why the community associations layer is really difficult to use for what you're trying to say or what you're trying to do. Essentially, they take every organization in the county and put it into one layer, which is great for them, but not useful for us. So she has provided us with two breakout layers, one that is just HOAs and another that is just umbrella organizations. Umbrella organizations being things like Towson Communities Alliance or the Essex Middle River Civic Association. I bet there's probably a Catonsville and Arbutus umbrella organization too. That way you can visualize both the very small, the HOA that might only be a couple of blocks, and the very large, the umbrellas. But you can do it separately. I'll be honest, she gave them to us, I think, Tuesday, and I haven't had a chance to really check it. But it's there, and I think what we can do is just, as soon as I get a chance to check it, make sure that it works and looks like what I think you asked for. We just turn it on your account.
The reason why I brought that up is because, you know, the work that we're asked to do, I don't care how we look at it, we're trying to make 9 out of 7. So somebody somewhere is going to be disappointed. The thing is, personally, I'm trying to keep as many communities together as possible. And that information would be so helpful if we know exactly what we're up facing against.
And I think the solution of kind of trying to break out the kind of smaller groups and from the larger ones will really help you do that. Because I know you go to community association meetings several times a week, just kind of do a cycle. So I think it'll be really helpful for those smaller ones if you can say, look, I'm on my redistricting app, and I can point to yours and maybe the HOA next to you and maybe the HOA south to you, and they're going to all be in one district. Or, here's where the line is, and HOA, you're above that line, so you're going to be in a different one, or however. Do you see what I'm saying?
I understand what you're actually saying, and I'm trying. Like I said, my major thing is trying my best to keep these communities together.
And I think that is, I think that's something that everyone at this table shares.
Yeah.
But I think your advice about, not being able to please everybody, I think we're all, I think that's very true. And everyone's going to do the best they can.
So are we ready to move on to the preliminary discussion of the draft redistricting plan?
I think so. As we move to that, though, I just want to mention to all the commission members that Christine and the other GIS team members are available to do more training if you need it. We can schedule things during the day like we did last week. We can do some evening things with a little bit of advance notice. Like Christine said last week, this is their full-time job to help support you guys. So you got to let us know how, if you need more.
And I'd like to, again, just thank Christine and the rest of the staff for the help that they've given us so far. Thank you.
And Adam, as we get into it, that we're probably going to, we may have some questions. I know we're going to have questions. Absolutely. So, thank you.
And I think just to add to that, if you all are doing mapping yourselves and you're doing maybe a basic version of it, and I just got trained on this recently, and it is a lot, and it's not easy, and it takes time and practice. So if you get to a point though where you have a draft map or even close to one, and you want to fine tune it or whatever your need is, I think we can make an appointment, and they can kind of be they can help you finalize it, and finish it up. Yeah, whether it takes a half hour or 2 hours, I think that can happen. We might, we'll definitely probably need to do that, as we're trying to sift through this ourselves.
Chair, did you want me to kind of tee off the discussion? Okay. So we're now moving into the meat of your work. And the reason why I suggested a preliminary discussion is actually on the advice of Dr. Creighton. I think it would be really helpful for the commission to just talk about broad principles that you'd like to see. These can be geographic, demographic, community-based. I mean, this is where you kind of talk about, in general, at the end of this process, what do you want to say you accomplished? Mr. Harris, I think, said it pretty well just a second ago. His one of his primary goals is keeping communities together as much as possible. So that's a really good, kind of high level. We're going to try, as we start working, that's what we're going to try and do. So I'll open it up to you guys.
Hi. So I think this is a great opportunity for us right now to just put some things on the floor. I think ultimately we're going to have to do some work, right? We can't speak about all of the things, but just generally, yes, keeping the community together, keeping communities together, historic communities together, I think is important, right? Resources, I think that is important, making sure that individuals that are living in a particular area are represented by individuals that are like-minded, have ideas to progress financially, socially, in all aspects of life. I also believe that at the end of all of this, we want to make sure that if we're not able to get and make sure everyone is 100% happy, I'm at least happy with getting them 90% happy, right? 90% happy, making sure that we are abiding by the Constitution. That is big, right? I want to make sure that we are going to secure these resources and the representation for these communities that have been fighting for so long to be represented. And I think ultimately, it's our duty to make sure that we listen to the people who live in these spaces and that we make sure that we are doing all that we can to make sure that their voices are heard, because we live here too, but they live here as well. And so we're speaking generally. So ultimately, I think that for me, schooling and polling districts, making sure notice is always given, making sure that, we are abiding by and complying with the Voting Rights Act, and making sure we're complying with the Constitution, making sure that we're not pulling too much where it's going to create such a dissension that it creates disarray. We are already living in a chaotic world. We do not need to bring more chaos to Baltimore County, and that is what I think.
Yeah, and I think what Dr. Creighton last week gave us some good basic info, like you're saying, not to upset the whole cart, but to take a look at some things. I think they were realistic and common sense approach there. So I appreciate that presentation.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
So I agree with everything that I've heard thus far. I guess for purposes of time, and I know we were dealing with an aggressive timeline, trying to have a tentative map on the 11th, which is next Friday. So my question, I guess, for us here as a commission is, where do we begin to start to see how we can begin assembling some of this or picking it apart based on all the information, the presentations, which have been a lot to give consideration to, but also the information that has come from the constituents across the county, or, you know, individuals from certain areas. So what is our baseline? Understanding everything that we said, we want to keep communities together. We want to try to bring some delightful feeling to everyone, though we know it's not going to exist because we're breaking down 7 districts. So how do we start? What is our delta? And when do we begin so that we can start to form something that we can begin to visualize?
Well, not that I have all the answers to your question, Dr. Davis, but it would seem to me we should just as a commission go around and have we started working on a draft map that's our own product? And I would say I have started that. I'm not finished, but I'm well on the way.
Well, I think we should try to have some type of, each of us have some type of mapping, even if it's not a complete all 9, have some type of mapping and definitely have it for our next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So we can possibly work then to group some of that information together, so we can give it to you, Adam.
Absolutely. And that's where the compare function will be heavily used.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I do have a question. Do you think that it is a realistic timeline to have a map drafted by next Friday?
That was going to be one of my questions.
Yeah, because if we're going to have we're going to have 7 different opinions, right? On top of the constituents that we represent, and then coming together and ensuring that we can have something solid to present. We are on a time constraint, and I don't want to push it up, but quality control, right? And I'd rather small wins than going for the big shebang, and then it all falls out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with that, Cordell.
Yeah, and I think that was our intent, because I even note on the calendar it says tentative for the 11th, and that is pretty aggressive. But I think that if I recall from the last meeting we had, I thought we were going to come back on the 9th and see what everybody has and see where we are at that point. And then if we want to pull the trigger or not pull the trigger or revise the date, I think we had that discussion, I recall.
And one thing I will add in the thing, and I want to ask of the staff is if we're not ready for the 16th, is the 23rd a possibility now? With regard to staff, you're doing after hours Monday and Tuesday of that week, so you'd be doing 3 in a row. Is that too much to ask of you?
That's fine.
Okay.
That would be, I think that's a good tentative plan. You know, do your best. And when we reconvene on the 9th, you know, hopefully we'll have an idea of where things are. And maybe, you know, you'll have some maps, and maybe there will be discussion about those maps. And then, but at least, yeah, I think we can definitely do that.
Okay.
One of the issues that I truly have, so as we put out this information or just throw out our own personal ideas, this area in the middle of these maps has really gotten me confused here. I mean, it seems like in the middle of each one of the maps presented, there's one particular area that seems to stay right in the middle of 3 districts. And that is kind of bothering me. It's just look like little small slippers. If you look at any of your maps, you see right above I can see it on your map. Right,
Right in here? Is that what you're talking?
right, come down, come down.
Over here?
No, bring your map down.
I'll map down
Yeah, right along here.
all this,
Yes.
the gerrymander part. Come on, let's all be honest. It is what it is. I mean,
It's on every one of them.
I've got the map that.
Yeah, the 47.
You called out the gerrymander. Get rid
The
of it.
gerrymander part.
Yeah.
Something definitely needs to be done with that. Yes.
Just remember, getting rid of it, then you have to,
Adjust other things.
right, you gotta,
Right.
and then if you adjust that other thing, you're like, wait a minute, do I have to adjust something else now? And then on and on. It's like throwing a rock into a pond. So now, there are times when it might not be. There are times when you might take something away and add something, and you're like, "Whew, I'm done. I don't have to, do anything else because everything else works." But
We won the lottery.
yeah,
Well, it's tough though, because I've been working on that already, and to remove that reptile, as I describe it, it's hard to get the districts to balance out then.
It's a large population.
Yeah.
And, in terms of goals, I mean, it doesn't have to be just high-level stuff. One of the goals that you could have here is avoid something that looks like that. That's a pretty practical goal, I think, and it seems like there's a lot of consensus about it. So that's something really good that all seven of us, or seven of you, should know and be working towards.
and the other thing is, I think in a way you have to think of yourselves as jurors. You have been instructed on the law. You have been trained to some degree on the law. You have the redistricting manual that spells out what the law is. And so even though you're not lawyers, you have to apply that to this. So you're going to need to decide for yourselves, and maybe this is pretty fundamental and I don't even have to say it, but you're going to have to decide for yourselves, okay, I want to make sure we comply with the Voting Rights Act. So what does that mean exactly? There's nothing exact really about it. So, and even Dr. Creighton acknowledged that. You have to, you're trying to comply with minority representation, but you also, as he said, you're also looking at other factors within that. So you have to decide in a fundamental way, okay, what is this going to look like? Is the two majority African-American districts in Bill 47 plus another majority minority, in your view of the Voting Rights Act, is that going to be enough? I'm not saying that exact map, but I'm saying that concept. Or are you going to say, or similar to the Woodlawn map, which also has, I think, two majority African-American, and or are you going to go with the ACLU model and say, no, I think we need to go 3, and how do we do that? But then after you do those things, are we, is the political performance, not even to mention the compact, contiguous, substantially equal in population being respected, not even to mention the community involvement. So I say all that because you do have a lot to consider, and it's not an easy thing. So, but I think you are going to have to make some fundamental decisions about, what will this map look like in terms of the minority representation in the Voting Rights Act, and then kind of going from there and making sure everything is compact, contiguous, and equal in population, that whole 10 deviation, but also don't forget the 5. So you don't really want to be more than 5 below or more than 5 above. That mean. So in saying that, and then maybe at the very end you say, oh, and how does it look politically? How blue is this side? How red is that side? How purple is this district? So, it's not easy, but I think you need to decide for yourselves, where am I on those issues?
Okay, so moving along, if no one else has anything to share on that in general topic. So we've got our next meeting set for April the 9th, which was on the schedule and the calendar that the staff has turned out. We're going to bring whatever Mac product we have on that date, and we'll see whether we can make the April 16th virtual public hearing or whether we need to push it back a week. Okay, the next question is, how does everyone feel about having a photo of themselves next to the name and biography on the commission webpage?
Personally, I have no objections.
I'm fine also.
I have no objections either, Adam. I got my picture done last week when I was there, so I have no objection.
Lisa, are you good with it?
Yes, all good. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, are there any other thoughts anyone wants to bring up before we adjourn the meeting? Okay, so Adam, we'll expect to see our photos sent in shortly if you haven't done so already.
And if you would like, we can step over to the council waiting area where we've got the seal and some flags, and just take a picture, now. Yeah.
Kind of like a headshot.
Yeah. And these, they're really just meant to be little thumbnails, so that, when someone's looking at that picture, they can identify us.
Any further comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Take a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, and good night, everyone.